President Biden and congressional Democrats have repeatedly pledged not to raise taxes on anyone earning under $400,000. They've said it so many times, it's begun to sound like a broken record. The thing is, when someone feels the need to repeat a claim over and over, it's likely that they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes. That's exactly the case with the Democrats' tax pledge. According to an analysis by the nonpartisan Joint Committee on Taxation, there isn't a single income group completely spared from the Democrats' tax hikes. In other words, it's going to hit a lot of people with incomes below $400,000 a year. And I know my colleagues know what the Joint Committee on Taxation is. It's an expert group that studies the tax code and the impact of tax changes. But for the public at large, this is a nonpartisan group of people that do a very fine job of saying how changes in the tax code will affect whoever they're supposed to affect. Now, not those making under $400,000, not those making under $100,000, and not even those making under $10,000 will be guaranteed not having their taxes increased, as the president promised. So going back to the Joint Committee on Taxation analysis, over 12% of the taxpayers with incomes between $50,000 and $100,000 would see a tax increase. And 35% of those earning between $100,000 and $200,000 would pay higher taxes. You can't raise taxes on small businesses and other job creators, these entrepreneurs, without hitting the middle class. Economic studies show that when you raise taxes on businesses anywhere, from 20 to 70% of that tax increase falls on the workers. Now, the Joint Committee on Taxation assumes it's about 25% and whatever doesn't fall on the backs of workers falls on shareholders. And then you need to remember that when it falls on shareholders, there's millions of middle-class Americans trying to accumulate a nest egg for retirement. So yes, when you hike taxes on small business from the top rate of 37% to over 46%, once including the Democrats' proposed surtaxes, you, President Biden, hit the middle class. When you increase taxes on corporations from 21% to 26.5%, returning our corporate tax rate to one of the highest in the developed world, once figuring in state taxes as well, you, President Biden, also hit the middle class. Yet Democrats contend their proposal includes tax cuts for the middle class. More accurately, they cut taxes for a chosen group of middle and lower income Americans and a select few millionaires. Unlike the 2017 tax law that was passed by a Republican Senate, that tax cuts, it cuts taxes for the vast majority of the middle class. The Democrats' tax and spending bill leaves most, over 70% of the taxpayers, with either a goose egg or a tax hike. The Democrats' tax bill is about picking winners and losers. It's not about sound tax policy. If you don't have the right family composition or spend your money how Democrats want, you don't get a tax cut, but you may get a tax increase. On the other hand, if you're wealthy and on a waiting list for a $69,000 all-electric 2022 SUV, you're in store for a $12,500 tax credit, financed in part on the backs of the middle class. Moreover, if you're a multi-billion-dollar company with a pre-existing commitment to go net zero emissions by 2040, you're in for a multi-million-dollar tax windfall. Once again, that tax windfall financed in part on the backs of the middle class. So I hope the American people won't be fooled by my Democrats' colleagues' rhetoric. Their bill hikes taxes on millions of middle-class taxpayers, and their narrowly targeted tax cut leaves most out in the cold.